Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about arguing, because we talked about arguing a fair amount over the last few weeks when we've been talking about relationships and stuff, and how arguments can be really, really good. The best relationships in the world still include arguments, maybe less frequently than the relationships that are collapsing under their own weight or whatever else. Sometimes more frequently because they have those little arguments more often that allow them to go from strength to strength to strength on a much more frequent and regular basis. But more often than not, at least in my experience, it's the ones that have the big arguments over the silly little things that then they come out the other side of, and then they grow stronger from it. It's all well and good with that kind of thing. However, sometimes you can't avoid those kind of arguments, but there are a few ways that I want to go through now, kind of steps, if you will, that will reduce the level of conflict and kind of work on bringing you closer to your partner in a way that, quite frankly, is only ever a good thing. And this can potentially skip around some of those other arguments that are just there for the sake of being there. They don't have a constructive purpose in terms of growth or anything else afterwards. And so let's get into this. Now, the first one, and this is one that I've seen a lot, and this is everywhere, by the way, not just in regards to relationships like we're talking about at the moment, but everywhere where there could be some conflict. And that is that people, when they see a fight coming, when they think a fight is going to happen, they get ready for it. And then even if the other person doesn't start the fight because they expect the fight to be there, the person who's been anticipating that fight, that conflict, that argument will blow up and go ahead and start the fight. Suffice to say, don't do that. Instead of getting all head up and worrying and kind of going, right, I'm ready, fight me, I'm gonna do it, I'm fine, I'm gonna win, I'm alright. Instead of doing that and kind of building yourself up like you're about to go into a fucking boxing ring, don't expect the conversation to go badly or anticipate a good outcome or whatever else necessarily. Just kind of go in with a positive appreciation of the fact that you've got the opportunity to have the discussion. Yeah, I've heard people go, oh, we'll go in thinking that things are going to be fine. Don't do that, because it might be a conversation that could very well end your job. And if you think it's, again, the kind of reverse of the anticipating a fight. If you go in anticipating a fight, good chance you are definitely losing your job. If you go in anticipating everything's going to be fine, then maybe you're not going to take it seriously enough, and as a result it's going to just get kind of you're going to get brushed away because they weren't taking it seriously anyway. And imagine then how your partner is going to feel in that kind of situation where a boss looking at you with those two different approaches to a conversation is going to go, well, either you're definitely fired, or well, you're still definitely fired, but because you just didn't seem to care rather than because you picked a fight. You go into a relationship where the other person that's sat there that you're having that conversation with actually cares more about you. You're not just a cog in the machine. You're a very integral part of their life. That's going to have a bigger impact. Oh, well, I didn't start a fight, but you came in and attacked. You came in with that very aggressive or passive-aggressive approach to whatever we were doing. Oh, well, you came in and you just didn't seem to care about anything that I said. Either way, you lose. So just be thankful for the fact that you're having the conversation. Be positive about the sit down discussion that you're about to have. Go into it going, I am happy and I care about what we're about to talk about, and more so, I'm happy about the fact that we're actually talking. Rather than going off in different directions or being daft about it, arguing and shouting, be happy to talk. The next thing is you shouldn't focus on the task as much as the impact. And what I mean by that is, if someone does something wrong, then you usually want to go and tell them off for doing it wrong. Yeah, you want to go and tell them, yeah, you're upset, but you're upset because this very specific thing that they just did. And a lot of the time, because you're picking apart what that person is doing, you put them on the defensive. You cause them that issue with you in the approach that you have taken to talking to them about it. Whilst if you go in and focus on the impact, especially the impact on you, walking in and going like, I'm not happy, starts a very different conversation than you walking in and going, I'm pissed off because you did that. Yeah, one's very attacking, one is the beginning of a conversation if the other person wants to engage with it. I'm not happy. Okay, well then why are you unhappy? What's wrong? Yeah, it starts that dialogue, whilst going in and pointing at something and telling someone that they've done something wrong doesn't necessarily do that, because if they have done it wrong and it's just plain as day, how are they supposed to argue with it? Or, it becomes a case of, well, I didn't know it was wrong, and it becomes that more confrontational thing. Whilst if you're in a relationship, you care about each other, right? So if you come in and you go, I'm upset, something's upset me, then you're inviting that other person to care about you, and they want to do that anyway, otherwise why would they be there, right? So have that beginning to an interaction where it's a focus on that stuff first, and just not so much on the first part, maybe, but not so much on the first point, but on this point it requires practice. I've said this in so many other videos, but it's not going to be an easy thing for you to do instantly all the time, especially if the argument is something that really is, it starts from something that's really got under your skin. It's a case of going, okay, well, you need to start somewhere. And so, start by kind of asking to sit down more and have more straightforward conversations, so you're used to having those kind of conversations, those two-way street conversations, rather than one shouting and one on the defensive. And practice starting conversations with how you feel with your partner. Yeah. You don't have to justify it, you don't have to explain it until you're having the conversation, right? Because otherwise, if they've not invited you to have the conversation, you're just unloading on them, and that can be almost as bad as attacking them, because you going in and going, I'm not happy and these are all the reasons why, then all you've done is drop this emotional 10-ton weight on them instead of asking them if they're ready to catch. Yeah. So just practice that a little bit, going in, talking about how you feel, and then waiting for the response. And then the last thing that's very much a standout for arguments is that people tend to attack each other a lot, and they tend to attack each other's actions, and then it kind of draws into attacking them as a person, because their modus operandi, the way that they operate, has literally caused whatever it is that's upset you. Don't do that. Instead, when it comes to negative feelings, we want to just throw it all out there, and we want to justify emotions, and we want to rationalize everything, and there is a place and a time for that. Yeah. And it can be during arguments, it can be during discussions, but one of the most simple ways is to talk about what you want, what you would like, and then talk about how you think the problem can be solved. So you've said that you're upset. You've come in with this mindset of, we're going to have a good conversation and something's going to come out of it. I don't know what's going to come out of it, but something is. Then you go, right, I'm upset. In which case the other person goes, well, why are you upset? In which case, fine, you can address the situation. Oh, well, such and such has happened. You know, this thing has gone on between us. You know, we did this. This happened earlier, and I would actually like to see this happen instead. And I think we could manage that if we just did this. All of that's positive. All of that's open. Yeah, because then you can just finish off that part by going, well, what do you think? In which case, you've gone, look, something's amiss. Here's my solution. Where's the compromise? What can you do? Are you seeing the same thing? In which case, you might even find them apologising to you just straight up and going, oh yeah, that was my bad. I was trying to do it properly and then something came up and I couldn't do it. And so I just did it as is and moved on. I'll go and redo it later if you like. Something like that. Because again, you've left it open. They're not feeling attacked. They're not feeling negative. You've looked for input from them, and so you're not going to just get those people stepped on and stomped on by all those feelings and all those accusations and things like that. They're not going to be on the defensive. And so yes, these three things, they take practice, they take time, but they're worth doing. They minimise the number of conversations that you're going to have that are going to be unpleasant. And then on top of that, it avoids a lot of the other random silly arguments that may very well happen and may very well just be very mediocre and pass you by anyway. So, you know, what would you prefer? Having those mediocre arguments that aren't really constructive, don't provide enough conflict for growth or anything like that, but just make life a little bit more miserable on that day? Or would you prefer to have a better time, a more constructive time with your partner by using these three steps? Choice is yours. I'd like to think you'd choose the latter. But either way, guys, I hope you found this useful and helpful. If you do use this, or if you have had to apply similar things like praise sandwiches and stuff like that to discourse in the past to try and avoid conflict, try and avoid arguments, stuff like that, I'd love to hear how your success rate, your experiences. If you try this and it works out great for you, even if it works out badly for you, I'd love to have you come back and have a chat with me. In the comments down there, just let me know what happened. But otherwise, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the video later. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.